not a walkthrough, playthrough, review, anything like that. It's just me playing the game badly so you can see what it looks like. This is the box for the Anbernic RG Nano. It's a box. I don't review boxes, so let's just open it. And instructions. Actually useful, because some things on here are not immediately obvious, like how to change the volume. Stuff like that. This is the console. It is tiny. Wait, give me a moment, I have a thought. The obvious thing to do at this point would be to put a Game Boy next to it, because, well, the design is like styled like a Game Boy, but my Game Boys are crammed in a box somewhere and I can't be bothered. So here's a Game Boy Micro, which is the previous smallest handheld I owned. The Game Boy Micro is tiny. It can cause cramping of the hands if you're using the shoulder buttons, because tiny. So you get the picture. This is really small. Okay, point made. So what can I tell you about this? I don't know what CPU it's got. Honestly, I don't care. It emulates stuff from Game Boy up to PS1. Let's turn it on. Or shall we look at what's on? You've got a D-pad. It's actually... This is my favourite Anbernic D-pad. It doesn't do that annoying clicky thing where honestly it doesn't do what I want it to do. I'm explaining myself really well. I'm one of those rare people who really dislike Anbernic D-pads. Everyone else loves them. I hate them. You've got a button marked as SE and another button marked as ST because, well, I don't know. BAYX, tiny screen, tiny L and R1 buttons, USB-C for power, and whatever else you want to do with it. Very much Game Boy styled on the back. That's a speaker. There's like if you want a lanyard on here, you put it there. Unlike a Game Boy, that is not a speaker. So let's turn it on. If I've got, oh yeah, there's where your micro SD card goes. It comes pre-installed with a micro SD card with the operating system on it, which is a Linux based thing, I think. You've got two user interfaces. Let's turn it on. There's your Anbernic logo, and it will boot into a clock. Yay. Is it telling the correct time? More or less, which is good. And yeah, you press that to get into the system and that to change the time. Time is correct, so let's press that. And that gets us into this. It's a lot like OpenDingux. It might be OpenDingux. Honestly, I'm struggling to see it because it's tiny and my eyes are old. You've got emulators, games. These are system specific, I guess. I haven't tried no, I haven't tried any of them. Media, you know, you can play music or video files or whatever if you've got some on your SD card. RetroArch. Now this, or RetroArch I should say, this does not come standard out of the box. There is a firmware update. It's not custom firmware, it's just an update of the standard firmware, and they added RetroArch. Honestly, it doesn't add a whole lot in terms of systems compared to the bog standard ones, the standalones that come with it. It just lets you have the odd different version. You know, if one emulator is not to your liking, try a different one. Settings, yeah, I'm honestly, the only thing here I bother with is the power off, because it being Linux based, you want to power off from the operating system and not just hit the power button, just in case you corrupt your storage card. Applications stuff. Honestly, I don't know. I don't I don't use any of this. Emulators. So Game Gear, Game Boy Advance, Atari Lynx. Can't remember what that is. I've got no idea. Game Boy Color, Master System, Mega Drive, NES, PS1, PC Engine, Neo Geo Pocket, Pokemini, no idea, some Pokemon thing. SDL Retro Test. That is arcade emulators. I don't know why they've named it that. That's just a weird thing, but whatever. Sega Master System, Virtual Boy, and Wonder Swan. They all work. They all work perfectly adequately. I mean, I tell you what, we'll have a look at the Mega Drive one, just because, why not? Actually, I do have a reason. And let me show you. Maybe I'm going to fail to show you because I can't see what it is I want to show you. That's what I want to show you. Resume game. Yeah, okay. Are you sure? Yeah. Okay, I didn't want to do that. Oh, there we go. So, oh God, now I'm trying to play this through the camera screen. It's Virtual Racing Deluxe, which is a 32X game. So, yeah, it's a Mega Drive emulator, but the Mega Drive emulator also plays 32X. And that is a very good thing. I'm doing really badly because I'm playing this through the camera screen. But there you go. Whoops. Does it play Mega CD? Don't know, actually. I haven't tried that. But it's, you know, virtual racing, not just in the palm of your hand. It's just like tiny. Can't remember how to get out of the game. No, I didn't want to do that. Yeah, maybe it's that. Exit game, there you go. So the power thing is also like gets you into the menu system. Not entirely intuitive, and now I've got a load of stuff up at the top that I didn't really want because I was randomly pushing buttons because I don't know what I'm doing, because this is me and you should know this by now. Yeah, so if you want to know your CPU usage, your RAM usage, and whatever that is, swap 0%. Who knows? You can get those, you know, things. It does stuff. So the highest level it goes up to is PS1. I'm now trying to remember how to get out of this system. Start to exit. Yeah, that's the start button, and you press that to exit because Anbernic. Let's have a look at the PS1, because that is the most. Didn't want to do that. There. Okay. Okay. It doesn't. I don't want to say it doesn't play everything. It is fussy about file types. You've got to have the right file type. And I think it's like .bin. It wants bin files. It will like do bin and queues. It doesn't like IMG. Yeah. Well, I mean, look at that. There's a little bit of glitching in the audio there. Oh, and a little bit of slowdown. That's not perfect, is it? I wonder actually if it's because I've got this nonsense at the top, because I don't remember it doing this before. there you go. Okay, so having done a quick reboot to get all the frame counter and stuff off the top, there is another thing that this thing can do. You can have a different launcher. Everything else is, it plays all the same stuff. There. Now, as standard, you would have a load of thumbnail images for the games here, but I have altered the games that are on it, so it doesn't have them anymore. Because I put on a load of games that don't have thumbnails, and I couldn't be bothered to get any, make any, whatever. Oh, okay. That was me trying to exit the Game Boy game list, but instead I launched a game. Professionalism, there is none. How do we start the game? Like that? Well, why not? Oh, I suck at this game. I don't want to play it. And I don't want this launcher, really. It's like, it's much like a lot of the other launchers, but I just don't like it. So, yeah, it's a short and sweet, or maybe not very sweet, short and shoddy video review of the Anbernic RG Nano. So, what do I actually think of it? Okay, so, as you will have noticed, that was a very, very shoddy review. It's not really a review, it's just a, here's this thing, it does stuff. Why was it possibly even more shoddy than my usual very shoddy reviews? The answer is simple. I've spent very little time playing with this, and the reason for that may or may not be glaringly obvious. It is so small. Its standout feature is that it is tiny, but its greatest drawback is that it is tiny. It is very, very, very hard to play this thing, to get, I mean, I've got small hands, but doing that and controlling anything meaningfully is not easy. And then I'm old. My eyes, I've got to hold it there to see it without my glasses on. With my glasses on, I'm like, it is really, really hard to see this thing if you're beyond a certain age. The screen is tiny, it's meant to be tiny, but damn, it's hard to see. So it hurts to play this thing. Your hands will cramp up, mine do, and you play badly because it's so hard to control. Or I do, but then I do anyway. So I love it, but I can't play it. It's just too small to be practical. Would this be good to give to a small child? Maybe. But I mean, it's like a little jewel. It's so, the detail is so nice. It is so pretty. It's got this wow thing about it because it's not so small. The idea of giving it to a small child, knowing they're going to kick it around, drop it, throw it, do everything you shouldn't do with it, and just basically trash it, I wouldn't, but then I find small children horrible anyway, so I just wouldn't. But I don't know. It's a novelty, and that to me is all it is. I would not, honestly, the people who may be interested in things like this, it seems to me, are retro gamers, and retro gamers tend to be of a certain age, and the thing is, by the time you're of that certain age, arthritis and poor eyesight are becoming a thing. and that makes this much harder to use. It's good to like show people and say, look at this, I've got this, it's awesome, it's really tiny. But if you just want to play something, get some, you know, get something bigger. I don't know. I love it, but I can't play it. Hey ho. That's all for a little while. You will have noticed a complete lack of content, and there will continue to be a lack of content. I have gone into YouTube semi-retirement. I'll probably do a video explaining why that is, but I don't know when the next video will be. I have taken down my Patreon page, or rather unpublished it. Those who were subscribing to or contributing to, many thanks. No further contributions will be taken because, well, that wouldn't be right because I'm not providing content. So I am immensely grateful to everyone who did. I'm not shutting down the channel. I'm just on, I won't say indefinite hiatus. I'm just making videos when I feel like it. Yeah. And I felt like it today to say, too small. Okay. Thank you for watching.
You there, peasant. See that subscribe button? Be a good pleb and just click it. There's a good, oik.